Okay, welcome, Andrea Marec. Thank you very much for accepting the interview. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Fabrizio. The pleasure is mine.
Okay, so I would start the interview asking you to introduce yourself and your business.
Sure. So my name is Andrea Marec. I'm the co-founder and CFO of Reason Art, who is a startup based in Italy, and we work in digital art. So we work with any type of artwork that is made and created through computers, either as a whole process or at the end of the creation process. And our aim is to connect what is digital art with the art system and the mainstream idea and mainstream world. Our mission is truly to connect tradition and innovation, physical and digital, through an on-life approach of art. So what we do is, first of all, we act as an art gallery. So we select and curate artists from all over the world. As of now, we have more than 70 artists. And then we organize and participate in various events and celebration, manifestation, exhibitions of art all around the world. And also we have a platform that uses the blockchain technology to sell and certify artworks for eternity, granting a certain level of royalties to artists and all other stakeholders in the art system. Furthermore, we participate and we work with a lot of brands in enhancing their value proposition and mission through art, and especially through digital art. And lastly, we work with monuments, so cultural heritage institutions in Italy mainly, but in Europe also, in order to connect with digital artists and use digital art both physically displayed on the artworks as well as VR experiences and creation of limited edition artworks to enhance the value of digital artists, but also to create cultural and historical knowledge towards a more broader and younger generation.
Wow, amazing. Okay, so how did you start and why?
So the company, actually, the idea of the company started and was born at the end of 2019 by my co-founder and actual CEO and currently CEO, which is Giulio Bozzo, when he was a student of cultural heritage in Italy, in Genova. He was really fascinated by art and digital art specifically, and he discovered an entire world, mainly on social media, Instagram, first of all over the world, of people, amazing creators using digital tools to create artworks. He then, through just a conference in Milan, discovered the world of blockchain and especially how NFTs could be used in this ecosystem to certify and sell digital files, so digital artworks. And he started to work on this idea. Then we met in the summer of 2020. I come from an economic background, and I really wanted to work in startups. I met Giulio when he was alone, and he only had a scratch of idea. And together we decided to combine our knowledge, our backgrounds, and our interest in creating something much bigger and have a positive impact, not only for the economy around us, but for the artists, first of all. For me specifically, I really found intriguing the way in which the building and the business that we were building was granting and could grant the freedom of financial literature, of the financial freedom to artists. Artists before that and still are mainly focused on commissioned artwork by brands, but also doing other works. So a lot of artists, even if they are amazingly talented, they don't have the capabilities to work only on that. They have usually to work as graphic designers or ad designers or anything else. So for me, one major important factor of our project was to give freedom of artists to truly be free to express themselves and to work only and to live only with their artwork and creativities, and thus the messages that they're able to intersect in the future. So that's how we met, and then how we started the company. And after a little months, in January of 2021, we created the limited corporation in Italy, the two of us. We were able to raise capital in September of 2021. and have the ability and luck to be connected with a lot of advisors, mentors, and people in the sectors, different sectors, from the technology point of view and the art point of view, to really help us in the growth of the company.
Okay. Okay, talking of which, how did you get the fundings to start your business?
So the first funding happened with a contest that Giulio won in his university at the end of 2020. Sorry, at the end of 2019. So he got the ability to get some funding that was connected to creation of the company. So he actually didn't receive any money, and he worked for more than a year. In the middle of that time, we met, and so we started working together. We can say luckily it was during the COVID time, so everybody was at home, which was good for us because we were able to work on the computer, connect with digital creators, with mentors, only online. So we were working, he was still a student. I just finished my university, so I was back at home. We were able to cut on costs and just invest our time. The entire time we worked at full time on the business, only the two of us, spending money to get some connections, some partners, some graphic designers, some social media managers, to really engage in the business and try to build a brand. Especially was the first topic, and of course invest in the technology side. Having said that, in January of 2021, we funded the company with 10,000 euros, which is the minimum to create a company in Italy, of which 65%, if more, came from this contest that Giulio won previously. But we didn't receive the money until we opened the company. And of course, the majority of the money went to lawyers and notaries fees, to creation of legal administration. So basically, we worked for free with our own money, working at our parents' house from our bedrooms, and we just tried to make it work. Then we launched it. We did the first MVP, which was a success in a certain sense, but still not enough to sustain the company. And so actually we were able to fund the company with the first round of funding in September 2021, actually in a moment that was really dark, in the sense that COVID was still hitting hard. Was really hard to get on new fundings and just to get a real sense of the market going on. But at the same time, we were able to close this deal, and of course we're able to start building the company in a more structured sense. So these actually, after all, it was after a year and a half that Giulio had the idea, and after a year that we worked full time, the two of us on the business, and already had spent and invested not our own money because we had none, but all the resources of people around us and the ability to build on this project. And luckily now we're able to closing the second round of funding and keep going.
Okay. Did you have any previous business experience that didn't bring you where you wanted to go? Like if you have any, how many times did you fail, if ever, before getting to recent art?
Well, that's a good question. I think that Giulio did not have any work experience, nor did I, actually. We did not have any type of previous experience on this type of field. For me personally, I worked in a student association for more than 2.5 years, and that was a good process for me for learning, dealing with a company, dealing with a group of people that are talented, that are young, that are truly pushing hard on doing more, and there's no boundary on salary. Actually, we're students, so we didn't have time, so that was for me really an experience that led me in what happened afterwards, that I'm going to tell you a little bit, made me understand that this was the type of ecosystem where I wanted to work. And that's also why after my university and right before the end of it, I leaned totally towards going to work on startups. working on something that I discovered that I didn't want to do, or that was a failure for me. I mean, life is full of failures, so any type of small or big is always a learning process, and that's something that all of us should learn to deal with. But specifically for me, in my student time, I was more studying towards doing a PhD. So for me, at the beginning, during the last years of my university program, I wanted to go to study a PhD. And right before COVID, through an exchange program, I was able to learn more about it and in a sense, open my eyes towards what it was. And then I understood that wasn't the thing I wanted to do. And that was kind of a failure for me because all the investments. But at the same time, I took part of it. I took responsibility of it, and I was like, okay, nothing happens. You're still fully available to do whatever you want. That's at least a belief that you have to have in life, I believe. And so that's why I spin a little bit my education towards more venture capital, taking more. I took extracurricular classes and online courses on more of this topic, and then I started to build on that. So I can see that as a failure in the sense that just a change of scheme, a change of program. And what happened also for the student association is that it's only for students. So I knew that it would come to an end. And it brought me a lot of field experience on what it means to work with brands, to work with administration, to work with a team that has to be motivated only on the mission, on the goal, and on something higher than just the paycheck. And these are all skills that truly are immensely valuable for me at this time.
Yeah, totally. Okay, talking about education, how important, how is it, in your opinion, is it important to have a good level of education in order to start a business?
It's a good question. I think that I think it's relevant only in the sense that it might help you to develop some certain skills that you need in life. Having higher education, it's really fundamental if you work in a field that is technical. So, of course, but to start a business, like for example, if you're an engineer that has extremely talented in the development of a certain type of technical feature, then it's a good thing if you have higher education into building a company in that field. But other than that, I believe that starting a business requires much more life skills and a certain, especially of attitude. And that attitude can be developed during your studies, especially if you're not helped in a certain sense. If you're able to build your exam curriculum and you're able to manage your time well to study and to not be overwhelmed by things. So in that sense, I think that higher education is necessary, or it's a good thing to have. Not necessary, it's a good thing to have. Because actually, in my case personally, I would say 60% of the things that I study are completely useless to what I do day by day. Even more, honestly. And there's a lot of things that you learn by doing. So I think that higher education is not necessary to start a business. But there's a certain types of skills that you can develop while doing higher education that are really good and really important to have a good business. But like anything, starting a business is a skill. And so the only thing you can do to better learn and be better at it is to do it and do it again.
Okay. So, what are the main challenges that you faced in the process of starting and developing your business?
First of all is to get funding. Get funding, it's always the most important issue. Because as long as you have funding, you're able to build, try, and fail knowing that you're doing something. That's the first thing. The second thing that I believe it's the most important thing is having a clear mission and goal that is higher than just being the market leader. That's something really fundamental, but I think that was hard for us because also the vision is so important for Reason Art. The value that we want to bring, the mission is just a driver for me, for my co-founder, for the entire team, and for all the stakeholders that are involved. both the clients, the collectors, the artists, all the partners know that this is something higher that we aim for. And this is, I believe, one of the main factors of our success so far. And lastly, one important hard task that I had was to explain to my father what I was doing. That was really hard to have people in my family, but to have them understand what I was doing and what we are doing still now. It's something relevant, but simply something that is actually conceivable.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay. So did you have any support during this process of starting and developing the business?
Support can be many things. Of course, personally, I had support from basically my family already, being able to live at home, going back during COVID. So maybe it was also a period where it was more common, so it was more understandable, but still having the support of that. Of course, not having the support of people that believe in you, that's important, even if they don't understand what you do. Having the support of a mentor was really important for me and Giulio. So finding someone who has already done it, who's older, that is more experienced, that is wiser, we can say it was really important in especially the business idea. For us was Stefano Ceci, who's also a professor at Ulm, but a person who has done more than 7 startups in his life, has failed, has success. And that's really important because it allows you to pinpoint what might be the obstacle in the future and how you can avoid it, tackle it, or have a better approach to it, or even just be prepared mentally to it. Of course, the main support has been from my co-founder, and I believe that I've been also his main support in the sense that people that are at the basis are what supports each other. And so without him, I would have been able to do it. And I believe that without me, he wouldn't be able to do it. And as of now, we're not able to do it, anything we do, without a lot of the people that we have, all the supports from the partners, but especially our co-workers, our new associates. And so all these is really important. Finally, I think that a lot of support has come also from other people that I've never met, like books, like informations, education. So I believe that a lot of support also has to come within you in the way in which you expose yourself to those who can help you. So for me, it's really important to of course detach yourself from the company, from your what you're doing, because it's so overwhelming. And so having a step back, taking a step back, a step sideways, and have a more rational or just like external approach, it's something that helps you a lot when you do sports or meet people that are completely off your field. But at the same time, in order to have success and have support, you have to become a person that is part of that. You have to have certain skills, certain mentality, certain attitudes. And I believe that talking, meeting, if you had the chance, exchanging chit chat, but also reading biography, reading books, getting to conferences, watching YouTube. There's a lot of materials around that is able to support you. And that's also something that is much more focused on what you might need and what you might want. Of course, at the end of the day, you always need some also psychological support, and that's only people around you that can help you. But it's something that you need to take care of to avoid burnout and to avoid just stress, and that is bad stress in a sense, because stress is part of our life.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I was.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, so at what point did you understand that you were on the right path, that your business was going to be a successful one?
Well, that's a good question, because I think you never are sure about it. Like, honestly, that's one of the main things. When you believe that you're in a successful business, it's like ups and downs. Before you start, you have to be certain that it's going to be a success. Otherwise, you will be only foolish. Even if you're not right, you have to believe that it's going to be a success, and that the market is going to be a successful one. At the same time, since you're so much into it, since you start to learn about it, to talk with other people in the field, you also understand what are the issues, what are the difficulties, what are the lacks of the business, and you also start to look at other industries and be like, oh, I wish I would have that simplicity, that feature that is so nice to like, don't think about that or have that bonus, or that tech part is not available, or you don't need branding, or your market is super clear, it's self-evident, or all kind of things. So it's actually ups and downs, honestly. And the only really real way, I believe, when you do startup is the success comes from your investors, first of all. So in those who believe in you. And why? Because clients and customers and the market overall is extremely complicated. Follows trends, follows things that are unclear, isn't just, has companies that are already established. Technology and innovation is not adopted in the pace and the fast attitude as it is created. And so the market is truly harsh, but that's part of the game. And if you look at Amazon, when did you get that it's a successful business? When after 20 years of running the company, decided to have actual profit only, honestly, after 20, 25 years. So I think that the most sense of success, of course, is not being stubborn, but having the success of investors, so meaning people that are supportive of you, and of course clients that love you, and that's the core of it. But clients by themselves, when you're in startup, when you're young, when it's something that is so also revolutionary, is not enough to support and sustain. And so it's really important how the success comes and go, will arrive. That's the hope, that will arrive one day. But until there, success for us is be able to grow the team, grow the mission, have a broader reach. And of course, that is only being able if you have the financial sustainability, and that comes only from investors.
Okay. Talking about the pandemic, how did it affect your business, and how did you manage to get over it?
Well, we didn't exist before the pandemic, so that's something already. That's already something to consider. But mainly for us, the pandemic, since we were such a particular business, it was good because we were forced to stay inside, and so we were able to focus on our business. So that we can consider it as luck. The other thing for us, the pandemic was interesting, was the fact that more people were interested in digital. There has been a huge uplift in the entire ecosystem of digital art and blockchain technology, which was good because it meant interest and interest from the public and the press, but at the same time also a lot of confusion. And so this has been one of the main issues for us, was to explain what we do, explain the technology, and avoid all the FOMO speculation and complete mess that news makes about the technology underlying and what it is. There's been a lot of confusion, and it still is. So there's a lot of, one of the main issues has been an overload of information and an overload of confusion, because there's no actual way in which the news, but this is not only a problem for us, but I think as a world, the entire world has a problem about news consumption, news management, and of course, security in the type of information and certification of information. Having said that, a problem and the issue for us, of course, was to make physical events. Physical events for us is a new way in which we expose digital art. And so, of course, restrictions have been impactful, especially during New Year's Eve, when we had our major event at the Arch of Peace in Milan. This was a pity that no one could come around, but honestly, it's part of the new ecosystem. And so we always lived with it, and COVID for our Vision Art has always been status quo in the sense.
Okay, now a more, let's say, philosophical question that you partly answered in the so far. You said something, you mentioned something about it. What is success for you? What do you think what do you perceive as a success?
Personally, or as a company? Because
as Andrea and as a part of Recent Art.
Okay, success for I'm gonna add another layer. As for a company, success is to be able to reach its own mission. For Recent Art, I believe, is to truly be able to intertwine a message and a value proposition that is only based on the perception of the future. So creating it's to create a better place between innovation and tradition. That's truly what Recent Art is there for, to enhance the experience of everybody in the world around innovation and technology. So not be afraid about the future, and not only be dismissive and only think about the past. That is how we want to create a better world. And we believe that art, culture can do that. Art and digital art and digital art. So that's for me success. So it's truly a mission that is never ending story, but that's where we go. So practically for Recent Art, I believe the more people do not fear what we do not and start to understand what is art, what is digital art, what is blockchain, what is NFT, how innovation can be truly impactful in a positive sense, and a positive impact also for the past. That's success. For me personally, is to be able to be free to do what I want. And what I want as of now, and I think in the foreseeable future, will be to make in sort that the Recent Art mission is achieved. But for me, success is to have the freedom to spend my nights and days in doing what I love, and be able to empower others to contribute in that. For me, for example, as I said before, the ability that Recent Art has to impact positively the life of so many artists, young artists, emerging artists, but also renowned artists and creators is truly amazing. The way in which it can create beauty and enhance cultural value of monuments, of anyone's house, of the streets of the city, that's truly amazing. And so for me, success is to have the freedom of doing that, and giving the power to all our employees, all our collaborators, all our artists to feel safe and free to do that. And so me personally, in my job, is of course to convince people that what we do is necessary, is impactful, is good, and also thus we can raise money to empower the new generation and the new future of art and culture, and thus the word, because culture is the word.
Yes, of course. Okay, would you like at some point to become a business angel?
Yes, I would love in the future, if things go well, of course, and to be able to support other startups and other young and not young, because startups can be made at any age, to build something. So that would be for me a great pleasure, and a great also way to give back again.
Okay, and talking about the future, what are your plans, either in the short or in the long term? What are the plans for Recent Art in the future plans?
Well, first of all is, of course, to continue what we're doing and build upon it. So create more experiences to fruition and education of art, bring more artists aligned with our values and our visions, because we believe that we give a lot of possibilities. At the same time, also to impact more people worldwide, especially with the connection with monuments. So we want to truly create something that is much more in line with that. And talking about which, we defined a 3-step project for the monuments and the type of work that we've done. The first one is a physical event that you might have seen in the December New Year's Eve, as I said, at the Arch of Peace. We've done at Pantheon in Rome, we've done in Verona, and we're going to do in other places. So that's the first step. The second one is a VR experience that we want to recreate with these monuments and with these digital artworks that were actually exposed physically to the event. And then thirdly, we want to create digital collections of digital artwork that anyone can collect, buy, and thus feel part of a community that is based upon the monuments and digital art.
Okay. One last question. What is, in your opinion, the most important thing or things in a business?
That's a good question. There's a lot of things, but I believe that. Sorry?
No, I said very wide, very open question. Yeah.
Yes.
One.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing in business. I think it is transparency. I think transparency, like Ray Dalio famously wrote in Principles, but that is part of Blackwater. He's just so, I mean, Ray Dalio's funds, but as well as Google, as all top companies, transparency between the people, because at the end of the day, any business is made by the people that build it, that are part of it. Even the most technically advanced companies are all based about people. And so transparency in communication, transparency in values, and I believe that fundamentally we all want the same thing as people, and working in a business that is able to tackle this transparency of values, of principle, of objectives, is the way in which you can truly build something that is better, that is good.
Okay. Okay, Andrea, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have this interview, and I will see you soon. We hope to speak to you soon.
Hope to do the same too. Thank you, Fabrizio.
Thank you. Bye-bye.